Hi, my name is Arman Sandhu. I am a CST program student at BCIT. And for you first-time programmers out there, I'm going to explain to you why Java is the first programming language you should learn. So we're going to go over three things. We're going to go over what is Java, where does it come from, why is it an important language, why do we need to know this language, and what are some of the features that are part of Java that are going to help us learn it faster and apply this methodology to other programming languages. So let's start off. Java was a programming language developed by James Gosling in 1991 when he was a part of Sun Microsystems, and it was designed as an interactive media for the digital cable industry at the time. But they couldn't handle it. They were not advanced enough to handle this type of language. So James kept developing it, and they put it up on the internet. In 1995, Sun Microsystems put out version 1.0, and it's now being held by the Oracle Corporation. So, why is it an important language? Well, it's an object-oriented programming language. Well, why is this important? Well, object-oriented languages are the backbone of modern software development. And we focus more on the data, how to manipulate data, than how to manipulate the logic behind the data. What does this help us do? It helps us create flexible, extensible, modular design applications which run on virtually all platforms. And this methodology then applies to other programming languages as well. .NET languages like C#, C++, and C all will apply the same methodology. Ruby, another online language. So, what else is nice about it? It's free, and that has a great significant cost. You have to worry about a lot about your development costs, and when you have languages free, and its IDEs, that is, its integrated development environments are also free, well, that's a huge cost that you don't have to worry about no longer. And its syntax is also very easy. It's not confusing like C++ or C. It's a very English-like syntax. It's almost going to be like writing a paper. It helps you memorize code, or less memorize code, you can understand the code better that's you see on the page. And it's one of the most popular programming platforms right now. Android uses it primarily as a way to implement their bytecode, and it's used on desktop applications, server-side applications, even web applets use Java. And here's a graph that demonstrates that, Java here is 13.3% in the last year of releases, and it's quite a significant chunk. It's not as significant as JavaScript and C++ right now, but at one time it overtook them. But that's how this game plays. They're going to bounce back and forth, but Java's still a significant chunk of the pie. So what are some of the important features that are going to help us? Well, I talked about its portability. Well, there's an acronym that we like to use. It's WORA. Write once, run anytime. And this was a slogan created by Sun Microsystems that demonstrated Java's cross-platform or ability to be cross-platform. That is, that you would write your code on your PC once and virtually deploy it to any system without having to change your code. This is really important because, well, what if you have a bug fix that you need to apply? Now you only need to write your code once, and it'll apply to all your versions of your software. And this process is done in part by the JIT compiler and how the Java is compiled in the background. And the JIT compiler stands for just-in-time compiler, and it's an advanced compiler that the Sun Microsystems took from combining two other older processes to make one efficient compiler system. And what it does basically is it takes Java, the code that you're running, and it turns it into something called bytecode, which is what we call intermediary code. It's not quite the machine code that you're going to run yet, but it's quite close. And then it puts it into the Java virtual machine, the virtual environment in which you create your application. This environment sits between the hardware and the operating system, so you never directly interact with the hardware and the operating system, which creates that portability, allows you to install that in virtual machine anywhere and run your bytecode on it, and therefore have your application run on any platform. Also, the Java class library. The Java class library is a series of functions and classes that have already been defined for you. And Java's, the Sun Microsystems and Oracle have gone through a great deal of length to put together this library of common functions. And you're going to find your ways, you're going to find the most common functions that are going to allow you to interact with any kind of hardware. So like I said, it already provides you with classes that are defined for you, and also provides you with methods to interact with hardware, even though you don't know what that hardware might not be. Finally, the automatic garbage collector. This is really important. In older languages, you had to worry about your memory. You had to worry about how much memory you were giving to a program, whether that memory was being used up properly, and what happens when you're done using the program? The memory is still sitting there. Well, you had to go back and you had to make sure that memory was being deleted and put back into the program's available resources. If not, you could end up with memory leaks, and that would crash your program. Well, you don't have to do that anymore. Java takes that and does it all for you. It's optimized to do that. If it sees anything that's not being used, it's getting rid of it. And that's really nice, because that's how most modern security leaks happen, is that you have memory sitting there that's not being used or overflowing, eventually corrupting the data that's running your actual program. And this is how hackers get in, which makes Java a very secure platform for writing your languages in. So in conclusion, Java is a very English-like language to write with, very easy to learn, very easy to read on screen. It introduces you to the object-oriented paradigm, which is what you're going to learn and which is what you're going to use throughout your career as a program developer. And it's portable, and it's a secure language, operates on multiple platforms, and can be developed on multiple platforms. It's a high-level programming language that's constantly being updated. Oracle's always releasing new updates to their language, so it's never going to sit there for long periods of time without maintaining any new features. Thank you for listening, and I hope you...